Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm going to play Kingdom of Heaven, the Crusader States. And it's published by MMP, and the design is by Scott DeBrestian. Well, obviously it's a game about the Crusades. Mainly it has, I think, 7 or 8 different scenarios. Let me see, just a moment. So yeah, we have here the First Crusade, Second, the invasion of Egypt, Third Crusade, the Fifth Crusade, the Seventh Crusade, the Mongol invasion, the Lion of Egypt, and then this is the fall of the Crusader States. That's a hypothetical scenario. So there's a lot to do. It covers a lot of history, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, let's kick it off. Okay, so you can see here the map. I'm going to step back a little. This is pretty much, it should be like this, basically. Okay, now this is. Now you can see north and south the right way it's supposed to be, but I'm going to play like this. So this is the Mediterranean here. Up here is Anatolia, controlled by the Byzantines. These blue markers here, these are little strongholds. Well, not that little strongholds, but the marker, whatever. I mean, this is the Byzantines, and here, by the way, there are no troops anywhere. They don't have any troops, only the strongholds here. Over here we have Egypt, controlled by the Fatimids, and also strongholds, also one here, by the way. And they have some troops here in Cairo. Then all the red markers indicate areas controlled by the Crusaders. There are different Crusader states. We have the Kingdom of Jerusalem down here. It goes basically up here. Yeah, this is the Kingdom of Jerusalem here. We have, the leader is Manasseh, this guy here. And he sits with his force in Jerusalem. There are also a few guys here in Acre, but apart from that, we only have strongholds. Then we have here the Kingdom of Tripoli, or it's called the County of Tripoli, and this is the Raymond II. And just a few guys here in Tripoli. This is a castle of the Hospitallers, so it's technically another faction here. And then we have here the Principality of Antioch. Poitiers is the leader here, or Poitiers. I'm not sure how to spell that guy. Also with troops here in Antioch, but not too many. We're talking here about 3 to 4 units. Yeah, these are, I think, 3. And I think over here in Jerusalem we might have 4 or so. So it's not a big force. We have the county of Edessa here. And there is Jocelyn sitting in Beira with 2 units, and in Edessa we have only a single unit here as a garrison, and that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, these are the Crusaders. And there is also another neutral power. In addition to the Fatimids, this is Damascus. And I've marked that here, that these guys are all neutral. They have a few guys in Damascus themselves, and also a leader, and that is Unur. And oops. Then we have the Muslim player, and pro-Muslim are only the Seljuk at the moment. So all the other green units here are Seljuk units. And there is one middle-sized army here under the lead of Zengi. So over here, and he leads 6 cavalry units sitting in Mosul at the moment. And then we have here an emir in Aleppo with 2 cavalry units, and that's pretty much it. In addition, we have one castle of the assassins here, and I think they don't have any forces in this game. It's just a castle, I think. Okay, so this this is the status at the beginning of the game, and so let's see. It's a little weird. Let me see. The Muslims start with 3 points, and the Christians with 24 points, and you get points for all these cities with the yellow numbers, right? These are basically your starting points, I guess. The Muslims control this one here, 3, yeah, and that's it. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. So the way that scenario works is, and we are looking here at the Second Crusade. So the Crusaders managed to conquer Jerusalem and to control basically all the Levante, and when the Seljuks saw a good opportunity to get back their territories, they started an attack. And this is now what we're going to see. So let me see what the special rules are. The following. On turn 4, which is marked here by this game end thing, if at that time the Muslim player should have more than 6 victory points, no, 6 or more victory points, then a crusade will be launched, and it will start here, I think, in Constantinople, and then bring new troops for the Crusaders. At the moment, as I said, it's 3 victory points. If the Muslim player doesn't manage to get these 6 victory points by the end of turn 4, then the game ends in an automatic victory for the Christians. Okay. Apart from that, there are 2 other victory conditions. If the Christian player has 25 or more victory points, or if the Muslim player has 9 or more victory points, then the game ends in an automatic victory. Now, what I find strange is that basically means, apart from that, the game is played until turn 6. If there is no automatic victory before, and then the player who has the most victory points wins. So once this crusade should arrive, I'm gonna push this marker here to turn number 6. Now, as I said, what I find strange is that basically the Christians only need 1 more victory point to win the game. And one feature of this game is diplomacy. Okay, you can play a single card on each power that you can influence per turn. If you want to do that, you can play up to one card on each power and make a roll. And if you make a successful diplomatic roll, then the power will move toward your direction on this diplomacy track here. But there are only 3 spaces, so powers that are neutral at the beginning will then become either pro-Christian or pro-Muslim, and then you can kind of tow them back once they are on one side, right? And I already said that we need Damascus, and I need to find a marker for them. Okay, the assassins cannot be influenced here, but Byzantium can actually be influenced. So we're going to place these markers here. But Byzantium starts pro-Christian, and this is Lesser Armenia. They might also be influenced. They also start pro-Christian, and the Caliphate of the Fatimids and Damascus, they start neutral. Okay, so and we have these numbers here, and they indicate what you got to roll. So you got to roll this number or less to shift the diplomatic marker. And you can see the Christians or the Muslims, to get Damascus on their side, they only need to roll a 3 or less, so they got a 50-50 chance here. And they might even influence this with some card or, well, some other things. Now the interesting thing is that I wonder what happens if and yeah, I find that really weird. I think if the Christian player manages to get Damascus on his side with a simple 50-50 odds roll, he immediately wins the game. Because he just needs one more point, right? And this thing, Damascus, gives him 3 points. So if he manages to get control over, over this, what is it called, kingdom or power or whatever, they will win the game. That's the way I see it. It sounds weird, but it's pretty clear from the rules that you can gain control over victory point spaces via diplomatic attempts. So, and I only need one more turn to one more point to score an automatic victory, because I need only 25 points and I start with 24. Yeah, so maybe I can actually make it. So it might be an interesting choice for the Muslim player to try first to influence Damascus, so that the other guy, that it's getting harder for the other guy to get it back. We're gonna see about that. Well, I tried to find some explanation for this situation on BGG or something, but I couldn't. So a crusade will arrive on turn 4 if the Muslim player has 6 or more VP. If they do not, the game ends with a Christian auto victory. Okay, then it says here victory conditions. Christian victory has 25 or more. Maybe this is actually not an auto victory. That's possible. Yeah, that's the thing. So basically the scenario will go 6 turns. And then I think the factions need the number of points to win the game. If neither player meets the victory conditions, it's a draw. Ah, I see. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Fine. So there is no auto victory except during turn 4, when the Muslims don't manage to score at least 6 points. So this is pretty much a classic CDG. We have here the point-to-point movement. We have our cards, and the cards have a command number or action number, whatever you want to call it, and an event. Actually, here most of the cards have 2 events. One is your standard event, and the other one is specifically for sieges. And nearly every card has that siege event. Interestingly, some cards, you can see here, this card number is black or white on a black background. Now these come with different colors here, and depending on the scenario you play, you shuffle in these specific scenario-specific cards. So in this case, it's scenario 2, so it's the B cards go into the game. These are 5 additional cards specifically for that scenario. And each player gets 7 cards in his hand. You know that I like to play with my CDG solo method. You can check that on my. I did a video about this. You find that also on my webpage, and so every player can now only see 3 of his cards at the beginning, and we don't even know the Muslims player cards because the Christian player starts, and I want to keep a little bit of the information hidden. And there is a little more randomness when I play it with this solo method. Otherwise, it's just, it feels too much like chess playing against myself. But even with this, I find it hard to play a 2-player CDG. Yeah, apart from the cards and this point-to-point movement, you can do basically the standard stuff with the cards. You can either play them for the event, or you play them for the command points. And with the command points, what you basically do is you activate your leaders. Leaders have a well, actually, I'm not quite sure. I think it's the battle rating in the middle that applies when you want to activate them. You need a number of operating points equal or higher, but that is something I want to check. Is it the battle rating or the tactical rating? It's the strategy. Yeah, the strategy rating. So the strategy rating is the number here on the left, the battle rating is the number in the center, and the number on the right is the command rating, which indicates how many units you can command. You have your standard rules about interception and about avoiding battle, things like this. So there are not too many surprises here. What's interesting, and I've already mentioned that, is the diplomacy. You can play some cards, like for example this one here, that comes with a little number here, the yellow one. And you can play that card to influence your diplomacy roll, basically. And yeah, the number you have to roll is written in the scenario book, and if you manage to roll a number equal or less, then the diplomatic orientation of the power changes, and you can then control the units of that power like it were your own, and you also are allowed to add the victory points of the cities of the power to your own victory points. In addition to that, there is quite an elaborated siege system. It's not too complex, but compared to other games, it's pretty interesting. You have basically 4 different approaches while you do a siege. You can either try to starve the besieged guys simply by playing a card. You can play one of these siege events here. You can see that down here. Every card, as I said, comes with one of those events. If you only have bad siege events, some are for the attackers and some are good for the defenders. Now, if you have only bad siege events, you can also make it kind of you can gamble. You can simply discard one of your cards and draw the top card of the deck and resolve that siege event. And finally, or eventually, you can make an assault, which is a very, very bloody battle. You just try to take the stronghold by force, and that can lead to high numbers of casualties amongst the attackers. So that's that's the basic idea. It's basically what we have in this game. So let's start with the Christian player here, and maybe I should try to influence Damascus. Okay, here's the thing. You can only play a card to make a diplomatic die roll attempt if it has such a modifier. You cannot play the other cards. And this modifier would be to our disadvantage, because you want to reduce the result of your roll and not increase it. So therefore, I'm probably not going to do that. Not sure what I want to do instead, though. I might consider... Oh boy. Now we have a leader here. Maybe I should bring this guy. I wonder if I should bring more forces here to the north. Because, for example, Edessa is very vulnerable right here. I mean, in theory, the Seljuks could also move through the desert right here to Damascus and then Jerusalem, but that is probably a stupid idea. As soon as they enter, first of all, there is all this harsh terrain, which they will suffer a lot of attrition there. And in addition, when they enter this area of Damascus, they will automatically shift to my side. So I think they're not interested in doing this. I guess they moved for Edessa instead. Well, I could at least bring these guys in. Now, in these strongholds here, these or the other side, these here, there is a limit of only 3 counters. So you can only have 2 troops, units, including and a leader or whatever. So the leaders count as units here. But these cities here, these square spaces, these are not castles but cities, and they are marked with that type of marker, which can also simply change here. So then it's Muslim controlled, And in these, there is no stacking limit. So I could simply move these 2 units, including my leader, in here. And I think I want to do that. So I need a 2 to play that, and I want to play this card. And if you know this, my system, I'm going to roll 2 dice. If I roll with the darker one, a 1 to 4, I'm allowed to play that card. Other one, I have to play one of the other cards. And if I roll doubles, I have to play a random event. Okay, so I can play this card. Goes to my discard pile, and that allows me then to activate these guys. And I'm simply going to move here. By the way, we have here, this is the movement allowance, 4 spaces. The leader can also move up to 4 spaces. There is no specific movement allowance indicated here. And he can command 2 units. It's written here on the right, this command rating of 2. Now you can of course command bigger armies, but you need subordinates to do that. So each subordinate also counts as a unit. So I could, for example, command 2 subordinates. And these guys then can again command each a number of units equal to their battle rating, or even more subordinate leaders. It's just important that you have enough leaders to command the armies. But in this case it were just 2 units, so it worked out fine. Okay, and well, then it's the Muslim player. So I'm going to play with the rule which allows you to combine cards to be able to activate a leader. Otherwise, especially with my rule, which where you can only see 3 cards, it can be very bad. You can be stuck with a leader quite a while if there simply is no 3-pointer cards at the beginning of your stack, for example. So we're going to play these 2 cards here. And the point is that none of the other cards has any effect right at the moment. These are all event cards which are good for the Crusaders, and I cannot play the 1 cards to activate anything. So I could only play that 2 card to activate that guy, but I absolutely don't want to do that. So I'm not going to roll here. I'm just going to play these 3 points here, and I'm going to bring now this force here into play. This guy has a command rating of 6. There are exactly 6 units, so that works out just well. And moving out of let's see, moving out of one of these boxes, it's just a standard point. So it's 1, 2, 3. Now that is harsh terrain, but from what I understand, that is actually cancelled out by the friendly stronghold, so we're good there. And then we enter this space here now, and the guys could now sit outside and fight, but they don't want to do that. They want to be inside. And what will happen now is Zengi will try to blockade the city. So we have to, first we have to check the resistance factor. We got to calculate that. So call for surrender doesn't make any sense here. I'm pretty sure about that. But let's see about the resistance factor. Maybe we might try so wait a minute. So we have a leader here which is, yeah, it's a 2 battle rating, so that is halved. The base modifier is 3. Then we got +1 is 4. For every 2 steps inside a city, maximum +2. So that means it's a 6. Okay, so that is a 6, right? And So we're going to place this resistance, what is it called? Resistance factor marker here on top to remember that. And he could now try to call for surrender. So yeah, let's see how that works. Well, the battle rating is 3, which is pretty good, so that gives him a +1. The leader has not fewer than 6 units. If there is elsewhere at least one unbesieged enemy army with a combat strength which is at least half that of the active force, with enough victory movement points to reach the space. Okay, so that would be these guys here. They have 4 movement points. There are 3 guys in there, so the size would be okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they can get there. So therefore, it's a -1 modifier. And I think he needs to roll a 6. Higher than this number. No, actually he needs to roll a 7. So it's not going to be possible. Edessa will not surrender. So they got to go through a siege here. Now first, we got to check if he manages to establish a blockade. And let me see how that works. Subtract the number of units inside the stronghold from the number of besieging units. You must roll that number or less on 1d6 to successfully implement a blockade. Okay. So that means we have here 3 units. So that means the number is 3, because 6 minus 3 is 3. So he's got to roll a 1 to 3 to establish a blockade. And he did that. So that means we're going to place the appropriate marker here. That one. Blockaded. Okay, so I'm gonna place that right next to it, just to remember that. Okay, and now in the next turn, the guy can start with all kinds of actions to try to get the city into his hand. Okay, so the Christian player has drawn a fantastic card for him, the Truce card. It's also a good diplomacy card. You can see it with a diplomacy modifier of -1. But the Truce itself is pretty awesome because when played, neither side may enter an enemy-controlled space or resolve a siege for the next 4 action rounds, 2 for each player, not including this one. The truce extends into next turn if necessary. Immediately after this card is played, both players may freely demobilize any friendly forces, return them to the force pool even if besieged. Now, this is pretty awesome because it allows the Christian player to bring its forces from here, from the south to the north, and maybe form a powerful army to attack Zengi and to build a relief force to lift the siege here. And he has quite some resources, actually. Down here we have 4 units. I mean, the guy can only command 3. This is Manassas. But anyway, it's 3 of these units. Then we have one here. We were going to leave this there because, yeah, as I said, it's only 3 we can take with us. And but we have another commander here, Raymond II, for example. And if we can unite with him, we can also... but he only has a command rating of 1. That kind of sucks. So we would need this guy. He's pretty good. He has a command rating of 3. We also want this Hospitaller unit. So, yeah, we definitely want to... I mean, these only have a combat rating of 2. The guys from Antioch. These guys have a combat rating of 3. And they also have a combat rating of 3. So the Hospitallers are pretty good fighters. Yeah, I definitely want to bring them with me. So I think I might only take 2 units with Manassas. Pick up the Hospitallers, unite with this guy here, and then march toward this army. And I'm pretty sure I can actually... I have a good chances then to destroy these guys. I have to take care about Aleppo that I don't... But there are only 2 units there, so... it's not going to be that easy for them to take Antioch. We'll see. We'll see what we can do about that. So anyway, I'm going to play that card. But before I can do so, I might have to roll. Probably have to roll. So on a 1-2, this red one shows 5 or 6. I'm not allowed to play it. Oh, and actually, I have to play a random event. So let's see what we get here. Messenger intercepted. You may use this card to activate an army after choosing one of the following options. Opponent must reveal his hand, randomly draw a card from your opponent's hand and discard it after looking at it. This does not count as his action round. Well, okay, so we got to play the event instead. But that's okay. We can still play the truce. It gives him the option to play some... I mean, he can... he can then start his siege here. But he's not going to do that. He's not going to take the city this turn. So I think we have a pretty good chance to still play the truce during a later turn. And I'm going to draw randomly one of his cards. So I'm going to roll dice here. Okay, that's a 3. So we're going to grab this card and discard it. Looking at it doesn't do me any good here. I mean, if you know all the cards that are in the deck, it's definitely a good thing to know what is no longer in the deck, but because I don't know the deck at all, it doesn't really matter. And then I can activate an army. So, and yeah, I already said that. I think I'm going to activate these guys here. And, I mean, he can command 3 units. Maybe I should leave... I think I want to leave 2 in Jerusalem. There's always a chance that the other guy manages to activate the Fatimids and bring them on his side, so therefore it might be a good idea to leave a few guys in Jerusalem. or in general in the south, and then I'm going to move with the other units north. So we have we can travel 4 spaces, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and we don't have to roll for attrition because there's no harsh terrain and there are also no enemy strongholds that we passed. Okay, so the Muslim player wants to play this card here. Let's roll. We can do that, and we can't, and we also have doubles. So we also want to play an event here, or we have to play an event. Let's see what we get. And this is a mandatory event card. And it says Baldwin in, yeah, well, that's really hard to read here. Reaches? No, I got it. Baldwin III reaches majority. Add Baldwin III to the Christian force pool. Okay, well, that's definitely not cool for the Muslim player, but that helps the Christians quite a bit. Okay, so there's Baldwin III. He has a pretty high command rating, or a pretty high battle rating, which isn't too great, because wait a minute. I'm not sure. Do I have to... How can I activate these guys during movement? Do I have to go above the battle rating? No, it's the strategy rating. Ah, shit. I see. So actually, I didn't have to combine the cards earlier on. Ah, that's kind of interesting. When I played these... Wait a minute. Somewhere I combined... Did I? No, I think actually... I don't remember. But okay, I only needed 2 to activate this guy because the strategy rating is on the right. I thought I needed 3, but that is not the case. That's the battle rating. So basically, yeah, exactly. I can... Where's Baldwin? Now I can activate Baldwin with 2 command points, or 2 action points here. And the cool thing is he's got a command rating of 5. So I can actually, different to the other leaders here who only have a command rating of 3 or even 1, I can command a pretty huge army with this guy, which helps me quite a bit. So he comes now into the Christian force pool. That means in the next turn I can bring him into play. Or maybe even if I have some cool card. I think there are also cards that allow me to bring leaders into play. Okay, now I want to try again to play the truce as the Christian player. And I'm still not allowed to do it because I rolled a 5. So I think I have to play this card, the True Cross. But I have to play it for the event. Doesn't do me any good here, so I'm going to have to play it for the command points, and that means that I am... I cannot play this. Shit. I could activate Poitiers. I don't know how this guy is spelled. I'm going to spell him Poitiers. I could activate him with a 2. And Sadly, I cannot quite reach his forces. These are 5 spaces. I could move here, though. Pick up the Hospitallers. And then we meet with him. I think that could be an option. Who knows how many of these 3 cards I have. So I think I want to do that. I'm going to bring this guy down here. Okay, cool. And yeah, that's basically all I did here. So the card goes away. And now it's the Muslim player. And again, he wants to play this card here as a siege event, because it's a pretty cool one. And again, he's not allowed to do it because I rolled a 6. So we got to play this card, but that's not bad either. We can play the Ladders and Mantlets. Now the man indicates we need a minimum manpower of 1. So that's obviously the case. We have a unit here. And reduce the defender resistance factor by 1. So we're going to do that. So this becomes now a 5. And that is important when it comes to the final assault, because then the resistance factor is a modifier. So we want to reduce this. Let's see what the Christians can do. They're still interested. They're still interested in playing the truce, I think. Okay, well, actually, after this guy played his siege event, the defender could respond, and it would still be the besieger's action turn. So the defender could respond now, playing a siege event for the defenders. For example, that one here, the blockade broken. And after that, the attacker could play another siege event, and then he could actually continue playing siege events, and the defender is not allowed to respond. So basically the defender can play a single siege event as a response during an attacker's siege step, but the attacker can continue playing siege events until he runs out of cards. And after that, he would be still allowed to do an assault. So you can play siege event after siege event after siege event, and then do an assault, and the defender can play 1 to defend himself. But of course the resistance factor and also the guys inside the city are still too powerful, so he doesn't want to risk that that assault. But I want to play a siege event. I think there is the blockade broken here. The D here indicates that this event can be only played by the defender. So in a 1 to 4, yes, I will actually play this event here. Make combat roll for garrison, no modifiers. The opponent takes casualties, but there's no determination of victory. So I think only the opponent takes casualties here. If 1 or more step losses inflicted, remove any blockade marker. Draw a replacement card. A blockade need not be in place for this card to be played. Okay, so we're going to play that card. That allows us to draw a replacement. I'm going to play this here too. And now we're going to do this. We have there, I think, 4 units, or am I wrong? Yeah, I'm wrong. It's only 2 units. Yeah, it was 4 steps. No, it's actually 3 units. Okay, cool. So let's do a combat roll. But there are no modifiers, right? Make combat roll for garrison. Okay, so let's see. We have here the combat table. So I can show you a little bit about this. And that is now the total combat strength. Now these guys, I think they each have a strength of 2, exactly. So that means we have a total combat strength of 6 up here. And now we simply roll a die. And if we roll a 3, we will do some damage. So let's see. And that's a 5, that's pretty awesome. That's still only 1. But okay, I mean, it's 1 step loss for the other guys. So that means they have to flip one of their units. You can see there is a full sight, and if there's a step loss, there's a reduced sight here, and the battle strength is halved here. Okay, and that means now that the blockade is also broken, which means some of the siege options for the besieger are no longer available. For example, the starvation option cannot be played anymore, and he has to establish a new blockade if he wants to try to do that. And he could now play, can he? No, for example that one. He cannot play this card, the enemy foraging party court, because it says play if stronghold is blockaded. So that kind of sucks for him. That means he has to try to establish a blockade. That's a problem, obviously. And I'm pretty sure he cannot take the city, at least not this turn, because I think by the end of the year there is a demobilization, and that means that these units have to retreat into friendly spaces. I'm not absolutely positive about that, but I'm pretty sure. So it seems like this siege action had no effect. But still, I mean, there's not a lot else they can do right now. So I want to play, well, yeah, I think I want to play the truce. I want to still try it. So let's see if I can, and I'm still not allowed to play it. I have to play this card instead. So it's a 2 and a +1. So I think I want to try again to activate this guy and pick up these units and then move back here to Tripoli. So let's do that. I'm gonna move with this guy here, and now we can pick up them. And now there might be a problem. I'm not absolutely sure if Poitiers can actually command Manasseh. It might be necessary that it's the other way around. We gotta check that. There is a ranking going on here, but I think it is possible. Actually, I think he will be the commander. So let's see. There is a rank between leaders, and only the higher ranking leader can command the lower ranking leader. So that means if you want to activate them as a stack, you always have to activate the highest ranking guy. So Crusader leader outranks all Catholic non-Crusader leaders. Okay, great. What determines a guy as a Crusader leader? I see that there are, for example, here, these are Crusader units, right? I wonder what indicates if someone is Catholic, and I wonder what indicates if someone is a Crusader. Let me see. Okay, now this is the religion here. So these guys have the same religion. I assume that's Catholic. And I think the right thing here indicates if you're a Crusader or not. Now they don't have exactly the same symbol here. Interesting. Maybe it's written in the scenario. Yeah, probably. And it might depend. I think it depends on if they come with a crusade, then they are obviously Crusaders. So I think in this case these guys are non-Crusader commanders because there is no crusade going on at the moment. That would make sense to me. Still, I'm not sure who's Catholic here. I mean, I think they might be Catholic. Let's see what these guys are. Byzantium is definitely not Catholic, but there is no religion indicated here at all. But maybe the leaders, yeah. Okay, there. So I guess this here symbolizes that these guys are Orthodox. That's kind of tricky. Okay, I'm pretty sure these leaders are Catholic, but there's a difference, and I wonder what that means. Okay, I think I know how this works now. So here's the thing. This thing here, the right symbol, indicates the religion. So these guys are all Christian, and I think they're Catholic. But and also the color indicates, wait a minute. Wait a minute, I'm not sure how that works actually. Yeah, just a second. It's written here, okay. So, the nationality of a unit is indicated by the crest on the counter. Okay, so the nationality is that little thing up here, right? And actually it's not really important to know which nationality these things have. It's just important to realize if they have the same nationality or as the leader. For example, these two guys have the same nationality, right? So I think these are basically that it's Jerusalem. So this one is the same symbol as that. Whereas this thing here is not the same symbol as that. So that means he can only command a single unit of a different nationality. However, he can command a leader of a different nationality, and then this leader can command a number of units equal to his command rating. So that's not a problem. He can command, for example, Manassas, and then this guy can command 3 Jerusalem units, and we're all good. Now we don't need that one anymore. This is the Crusader unit. So it seems like the Crusader leaders probably have this, maybe that cross here, but I don't really know about that. We're going to find out later. Okay, then each unit has a religion indicated by the color of the counter background. and a corresponding symbol on the left side of the counter. So yeah, actually, this here is the religion, okay? And so these guys are probably Catholic, I assume. And the blue guys, but there is, for example, there are different religions when it comes to the Muslim player. You can see here, this is Sunni. Well, I'm not absolutely sure if there are other Muslim religions there. Maybe not. Maybe in this game you only have these Sunni religions. I'm not sure about that. I think it doesn't really matter. So anyway, these suckers all have the same religion, but a different nationality. That's all that matters. So, I'm a little confused now. Gosh. So, I think Manasseh started at Jerusalem and he sits now in Tyre, alright? No, in Beirut actually. Okay. So he sits with his units in Beirut, and then Poitiers, or whatever he's called, shows up with his Hospitaller unit, which is obviously also a different nationality, but he can command it because he can command one unit of each nationality. So he comes from Crac de Chevalier, 2 spaces, and picks up these guys, which he can do for free. However, we have to make sure, well, he can command now the Hospitaller unit, he can command Manasseh, and in theory he could command 1 additional unit. And Manasseh can himself command 3 guys. So then, from Beirut, we have 2 movement points left, and we go to Tortosa. Okay, there we go. That's it. So there are a few weird things about these sieges. First of all, it's that the resistance factor doesn't change except if you play events, I think. You might think that the resistance factor would change if you, for example, if you manage to reduce the garrisons playing starvation cards or something like that, or playing also by event cards or whatever, if the garrison, if the units inside are reduced. But that is actually not the case. It seems, it says pretty clear that wait a minute, where is that? Yeah, that's about the blockade here. Yeah, here. Once a siege commences, the above procedure is no longer used unless the siege is lifted. So, you don't calculate the resistance factor any later. So that possibly means that it is also not adjusted in any way. And in a similar way, the blockade, once it is established or not, it says pretty clear that after this step, and that's when you try to establish a big blockade at the very beginning of the siege, the blockade status is only altered by the play of siege events, blockade broken, or if the siege is lifted. So that means once this blockade is broken, the siege will actually continue, but without a blockade, which makes it much harder. They cannot simply try to establish a blockade again. The other option, it seems to me, is that they can voluntarily lift the siege. But to do so, they have to move out of the space. Wait a minute. And I find that very odd. Here, lifting a siege. Yeah, a siege is lifted the instant there are no longer any enemy leaders or units in the space containing the stronghold. If the enemy seeks to re-establish the siege later, the resistance factor is recalculated from scratch. So that kind of seems to me that there might be situations, for example also that one, where you want to move out and then want to move in again to re-establish the siege. So that's a little weird, but okay, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You simply have to activate the stack, and you can do this in one turn, move out, move in, and then reestablish it. Okay. But the problem is for him, I think it doesn't really help him if he does that, because if he moves in and out again, he doesn't have any cards left in his hand, and during the demobilization step, if I'm not mistaken, all the units on enemy spaces I think they actually go into the force pool. Let's see about that. Here, each player must now demobilize his forces according to the rules in section returns the forces to the force pool. Section 16. I think you can keep a few units depending on the command rating of the leader. Here, both players... Yeah, both sides were heavily dependent on feudal troops, which meant that they had to be dismissed at the end of each campaigning season to attend to their lands and laboriously collected together again if campaigning was to resume the next year. But that doesn't apply to the Crusaders, because they pay basically for their units. Demobilization is the least phase. Both players are required to return all their on-map forces to respective force pools. Okay, a leader that does not demobilize may also retain units equal to half, rounded up, of his command rating. Okay. If he is the ranking leader in the space. Oh boy. Besieged units inside a walled city only demobilize if all the besiegers do. Up to 2 friendly units may always remain in each captured city if no leader is present. Okay, fine. So that means this guy can basically remain there with a single unit and then keep the siege running. So yeah, I mean, he could do that. Why not? Yeah, I think he wants to try that. So he plays these 2 cards, tries to re-establish a blockade there. And also has to calculate again the resistance factor. Okay, so again we have now a resistance factor of 6 here, and now he's got to roll if he can establish a blockade. So we got to subtract the number of units inside the city from the besieging units and roll less or equal. So we need a 3 or less, and we did that. So the city is blockaded again. And we can then in the next turn continue our siege. So he's now out of cards, meaning he can't do anything anymore. Let's see what we can do here. Actually, I think we have to shuffle the deck because there was... No, if we play the truce, the deck is to be shuffled. Okay, what is that? That's not cool. Okay, but this cannot be played anyway. So we have a few cool cards here. It might even not be necessary to play the truce anymore. We might consider playing this card to influence, for example, Damascus and get that on our side. That would be pretty cool. Because we have a few good cards here, and I think we might be able to bring our army to Edessa without giving away that 3-pointer card here. So I think I want to do that. Let's play this one here. That is a... Yeah, that's a 3-pointer. I'm going to roll a die if I'm allowed to do that now. I'm not. I have to play this card first, which doesn't really make a big difference. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm going to play that one for the points. And I'm going to activate now this Poitiers or Poitiers guy and move him one with his units 1, 2, 3 to Antioch, and there I can pick up a few other guys. Now let's see how many of these guys I can actually move around. So Manassas can command... Okay, this is getting tricky. He can... I see. Okay, he can command 3 units, but only 1 of each other faction. But he could, for example, command 1 of Antioch. He could command the Hospitaller and his own nationalities units, the Jerusalem guy. Actually, there are 2 of them. Okay, so let's command these 2 and the Hospitaller. And then that means, yeah, he counts as 1 unit under his command, so he can command 2 more of the Antioch units. So this is actually the army we can command, and 1 of these units has to remain in Antioch. So, fine. We were in Tortosa, I think, so we can move 1 more space here to Gaston. Okay. Okay, so the Muslim player has no more cards. So he could simply pass, or he could also make a vassal move. That means he could move 1 unit for free on the map. I wonder if I should do that. I mean, I could... We got 2 units in here. I wonder if I should bring 1 unit here to support my army, and that might be a pretty good idea. I think I want to do that. I can move through here without rolling. Yeah, I can move. Okay, so I have a movement allowance of 6. So I'm going to move these guys here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to move in here. I wonder if I have to roll for attrition. No, that's an interesting question. Let me see. Probably not, because there are guys in my... Here we go. No, wait a minute. There we are. So that says A friendly stronghold. An enemy stronghold. Well, there definitely is an enemy stronghold there. Kind of interesting. Where is that? Well, I think I actually might have to roll for attrition, because it says here, traveling through or stopping in an enemy stronghold always triggers attrition. It clearly says always. Only enemy strongholds that surrender do not count for this purpose. So, even though my guys are sitting there, it seems I still have to roll for attrition. Now, oh boy. Let me see, we have here the attrition table. Let's hope that this guy gets there in good health. So we only have a single unit there. And so we have... we could spend movement points in this space here, because we have 6 movement points, and if we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, we could spend 1 movement point there to basically to collect food and so on, so that we can do the journey better prepared. And then we can subtract 1 from the roll per movement point spent. So that means I will suffer no attrition, basically, because as long as I don't roll a 6, I'm fine. However, enemy stronghold in space forces me to add 2. I see. Okay, so basically I have to add 1 to my roll, and on a 5 or 6, so basically on a 5 or 6 I'm going to lose a step here. Boy, okay. Oh, shit. So I'm gonna lose a step, I think. That's weird. It really is. It doesn't make a ton of sense, because there are my troops already in there. But hey, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's... I'm just follow what's written in the rules. I don't know if it makes sense or not. So, let's do it like this. And... well, fine. That was my vassal movement. Now it's the Christian player again, and he can now actually move here and try and attack. He's going to play that card. Let's see if he really wants to do that, or is allowed to do it. Well, he's not, because I rolled a 5. So I'm going to play this card, and actually, I think I want to try now this diplomatic influence action. I got a -1 modifier here, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to play the card, and I'm going to try to, well, let me see what the... got to check the table in the scenario book. I think Damascus is pretty realistic for me to... and it also makes sense, you know, it's not that... yeah, there we go. Damascus. Okay, I need to roll a 3 or less. And with my die here, I can subtract 1 from the roll, so on a 1 to 4, I'm able to get Damascus on my side. Oops, let's see what we go. That's a 6. So I didn't manage to do that. Let's see, maybe that has some negative, although I don't think so actually. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It simply doesn't come to my side and the card is lost. Okay, so the other guy is going to pass, and then we're going to play this card here, the last card this turn, and we're going to activate our army and move here to Edessa, and we'll probably see a battle here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, I mean, in theory, this guy could try to avoid the battle, but maybe I don't want to do that. I think I want to do that fight. On the other hand, the units from Edessa could join me. Oh boy, that's not good. But hey, I mean, you know, if we don't fight, I mean, there are a few guys here in the force pool, 4 units. I could bring them into play next turn, so maybe I should simply try to retreat this turn. I could move here to Haran, for example, and my odds are not too bad because I have only Cav, which I think gives me a bonus when I try to do this avoid battle roll. So let's do that. Avoiding battle modifiers. If your army is a cavalry army, I got a -1. If your forge is besieging, that kind of sucks, so I got a +1 again. Okay, so that cancels each other out, and I think I got to roll the strategy rating or 1 less. So there is definitely a risk involved here. And if I fuck this up, the battle will actually go even further to my disadvantage because of this. Yeah, because of this attempt. So we want to roll the battle rating. Okay, that's not so bad. My battle rating is 3. So hey, let's do that. Let's try this to make this roll. And I did it. Okay, so I could avoid the battle and retreat into Haran. This is my fortress. And these guys are now sitting here at Edessa. And that's pretty much it. That's the end of the turn. We got to do the demobilization. Yeah, so that's what I have to do. Let me see how that exactly works. Let's do this step by step. Demobilization of leaders and the military orders is optional. Okay, so I mean, I could demobilize one of these leaders and then bring him into play on another space, I think. But I think I don't want to do that. Leader that does not demobilize may also... Okay, here's the thing. The military orders is only the Templars and the Hospitallers. So I think the other units, also these guys, have to... I think they do have to demobilize. See, that's interesting. Okay. A leader that does not demobilize may also retain units equal to half of his command rating if he is the ranking leader in the space. Exception, if the leader is currently besieging a strong... Well, okay, that's not the case. Oh boy. So I could remain there with a single leader, with a single guy. I don't want to do that. Well, I could also demobilize... I could demobilize this guy, for example, and leave him in the space. And then I could remain there with 2 units. Maybe that's a little better. I think I want to do that. So I'm going to demobilize this guy. He goes into the force pool. Yeah, and then I can remain there with... Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna... I think I want to leave these... Well, I don't have to demobilize him because this is a Hospitaller. So he can stay there anyway. So I can take these 2 guys with me and leave them here. Because of my command rating of 3. But these 2 have to be demobilized. So they go back in here, I think. Okay, but then again it says Crusaders and the Mongols never demobilize except by event. Great. What the fuck are Crusaders? I have no idea about that. I mean, if there is a crusade, and well, probably Crusaders are... they're probably these units here, the Crusaders. Yeah, makes sense, of course. Okay, cool. So I think I actually have to demobilize these guys from Antioch. Let's see. Neutral forces and leaders never demobilize. Well, that's kind of strange. Neutral forces and neutral leaders never demobilize. Okay. Units moved by a winter campaign card do not have to demobilize. Besieged units inside are okay. Okay, fine. So that means we also have to remove basically units from here. And I think I actually want to mobilize them all, including the leader. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I think I want to do that. I mean, I could leave the leader and 3 of his units in here, but then I don't know how to get back. Let me see. How does the mustering work? How many units can I bring into play in one space? That's basically the... Here, mustering and strongholds. I could bring only 4 units in any off-map box. I see. No more than 3 in a palace capital. No more than 2 in a walled city, or no more than 1 unit in a space with a castle. I see. So I can bring only 1 unit into play here. Gosh. Okay. So I think I want to leave... shit. I mean, I could bring in a unit here. Oh boy. Yes, that's not that easy. It's a shame we only have a single leader. Okay, I'm gonna actually demobilize them all. And then I can bring 4 into play here, 1 into play here, pick that guy up, and maybe then do a vassal move or something. Okay, so they all go into the... Oh gosh, there are even more units here. Look at that. Now the problem is, if I leave the leader here, I cannot bring the units from Mosul. Yeah, it doesn't help. So I'm gonna demobilize them all, I guess. Kind of sucks. They're all scattered around the map then, and it's gonna be hard to get a full army back to besiege Edessa. That's gonna be a tough game. And what about these guys in Edessa? Actually, they were... I gotta demobilize them too, I guess. So we got this... Yeah, I'm pretty sure these also go away. But at least that's their home capital, so I'm pretty sure... And of course the blockade goes also away. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I gotta demobilize these guys too. Only this leader with... Wait a minute. I wonder actually... I see. Is this leader in here, so he outranks the other guy. I see. Oh boy. So I want to demobilize him and leave him into space because he has a higher command rating. Okay, yeah, that should work. But he can only keep Yeah, no, he can keep 2 units plus the Hospitaller, so that's 3 units. That should be fine. Gosh, that is complicated as hell. And here, this is ridiculous. I think they all have to go away, actually. These guys have to go away. These guys. And these guys. They all go away into the box. Only the Hospitallers and the Templars don't. Okay. So yeah, I'm done here. Same applies for these guys. They also go away. Okay. That's it. Guess I'm done. And yeah, I hope we can do this a little better in the next turn. It's not looking good for the Muslims at all. Basically they achieved absolutely nothing this turn, and they only have 3 more turns left. Okay, hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.